Welcome to World Shakers. My name is Tim Storey. I have with me the Ashley Stahl. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, thanks for having me.
To be called the Ashley Stahl, that's pretty good, right?
That's no joke. I know. I kind of heard that and thought, I'll take it.
It's kind of like there's like USC, there's Harvard, but for some reason they say the Ohio State.
Yeah.
So I have my little notes on you, and it says that you are an investor, writer, career coach, and doing many other things that take up a very long page. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So tell me something that you're excited about that you're doing right now. What is a project that you're working on?
I've been writing my first book for Hay House. It's due in a couple of months, and it's called
Big deal. Big deal.
Yeah, it's all soul work, and it's opening up so many creative channels for me, and it's bringing me ideas I didn't even think that I wanted to do. And I think that's what happens when we put ourselves in circumstances that bring us answers about ourselves and bring us inspiration.
Yeah, I like that. And number one, Ashley, as you know, it's so difficult for people to get book deals nowadays.
Yeah.
It's the landscape has changed from, let's say, even 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you must have a subject that people want to hear and listen to and read. And so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've obviously done research on you, but for people that are learning more and more about you, what is kind of like the main thing you talk about? For me, I talk about turning your setbacks to comebacks. Ashley, what seems to be the subject that just keeps kind of coming back?
Yeah, I would say what I'm most excited about and what I love talking about is how to take your career and turn it into a vehicle for self-expression, especially if you're in the workforce. I find that a lot of people are trying to figure out who they are and turn that into a career path, and they get misguided by picking a passion and turning it into a career, where sometimes we're not always meant to turn our art into our work. Sometimes we're really meant to look at who we are, what our natural gifts are, and how to wrap a career around that. And I think so many people have come to me for clarity, and they're saying, I want to know what I'm meant to do at work. And what I found is that it's not about clarity, it's about getting connected to yourself. Because when you connect to yourself, it's really easy to know what you want to do for work, because you know your likes, your dislikes, your core values, your interests, your passions, your gifts. So that's what I could talk about till I'm probably blue in the face.
I like that play on words on clarity, because I think that that's what most people think that they need.
Yeah.
They need clarity on something.
Mm-hmm.
But you're helping us to understand what our purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a quote by a gentleman from years ago that life without a purpose is just an experiment. And I feel like a lot of people don't really feel like they found their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so they feel like life is just an experiment. Mm-hmm. But you have been able to help people do this. So what I want to know is, where did you get the tools and the skills and the attitude to become this person that now we're hearing about?
Well, just starting off with attitude, was just thinking a lot about how you said it's tough to get a book deal. And the point I was just kind of focused on was it is. And I think when you're really aligned with what you're supposed to be doing, the world makes way for it. There's so much room on top for great talent and for people who are aligned. And whenever I meet somebody that's low on energy, I found that they're just low on purpose. And you can bring somebody into a vision that really pulls them and excites them, they're back on track. And so for me, it's really the crowded middle that I was kind of talking about, and that I think about a lot, where a lot of people are in that middle section where they don't know who they are, and they're not, as a result, choosing careers that really match them. As far as my own skills, I found that your career is the ultimate experiment. And I think there's a lot of myths that people get stuck in that keep them from experimenting in their career. The myth of the 5-year plan, of climbing the corporate ladder, of getting unnecessary degrees because they think that it'll get them ahead. Yes, sometimes that's the case, but what's helped me really thrive, find myself, make a living doing it, and make an impact and help other people do the same, is really taking a look at what experiment do I want to play out in my career, because who you are is always changing. So I got out of the 5-year plan and into who I am today. And
Yeah.
thank you. And I really started early with my career in counterterrorism, because I think that a lot of people misunderstand their essence, and I was one of them early in my career. So early into my career, I was living in France, and I saw a man hit a woman across the face. He was screaming at her in a language I didn't know, and there was something inside of me that wanted to help her beyond just being a good citizen. Like, I wanted to help or save or make an impact on this woman. And the way my mind took that moment was it made it mean I should work in the government. And without questioning it, without going into awareness about it, I went on that entire path, and it ended up not being the path for me. But the thing that I got out of it was, because I was willing to hold my career loosely, to see it as an experiment that meets me where I am. I'm in constant motion, and I'm willing to be getting constant feedback about what works for me and what doesn't. And I think that looseness and that personal freedom I give myself is the biggest gift in my career, because I think too many people are buying into the misunderstanding that if they try one path, they're committed to it. And they're holding the commitment so tightly that they're holding themselves hostage into careers that don't really work for them. So for me, success works, success speaks. And no matter what I do, I put my whole self into it. So I got my job at the Pentagon. I got the master's. I learned the foreign languages. And I was surrounded by millennials who couldn't get jobs. And so what did I do? I just tuned in to what felt good, because usually your body, not your mind, knows what resonates for you. And what felt right for me at the time was helping people land job offers. I started helping my friends get jobs like the one I got. And it was so rewarding that eventually this experiment, that I call my career, became a career coaching business, which turned into e-courses, a PR company, speaking, a book deal, so many different things on the periphery. And so that's why my biggest message for anybody listening is, when you follow what feels good, your purpose is really, it's either right in front of you or it's on the periphery. Because when you're following that, what feels right, there's just so much that comes in. There's so many opportunities that feel you, that meet you, that vibrate on the same plane as you. So that's kind of like the spiritual side of it for me. But the tactical side, what I've learned in this pursuit, is that there's a few core elements that anybody can use to figure out their career. The first one is your essence. Really taking a look at, what is your essence? Because so many people are thinking, what is the job title I should get? But when you look at what is Tim's essence? You're communicative, you're inquisitive, you're present. You can feel somebody. And when you really look at when somebody's thriving, what their essence is, who they'd be in a room, there's so many different job titles that make sense for that person. And it's so restricting to think that person's a marketing manager. No, they could be a marketing manager, and the same day they could be a talent agent, a real estate agent. There's so many things.
Actually, let me ask you a question about, like when I look at some of the things you've done, 23, okay, you already managed a high-level program for the Pentagon, and then you have all these accolades. So I think sometimes people will see someone like you, and they'll say, okay, she's just uber talented. So she's got like that ding on her, and so therefore that's just Ashley's life. So to somebody who feels more common, what would you say to them? Or maybe you felt common, even though you were doing amazing things as a teenager.
Yeah, I would say the first thing is, we're all made of the same stuff. I think what is different about me is not my talent. It's not that I have better leadership abilities, because I definitely have shortcomings in everything that I do. But it's two things. Number one, it's about really knowing what I'm great at. And number two, it's about the conversation going on in my head about failure. So the first piece, knowing what I'm great at. I know, and I've come up with this myself, and I'm writing about it in my book, which will be called U-Turn, Y-O-U, my own little term that I came up with, making a U-turn, coming back to yourself. There's 9 core skill sets that generally anybody in the workforce will fall under. So it's important to know, what is your core skill set? In my case, it's words, whether that looks like communicating in an extroverted way or writing, being more introverted about it. So I think first things first is knowing, like, what skill set are you going to use no matter where you go, because it's so natural to you. You can make me own a bakery, or make me into a ice cream maker, but I'm still going to use words. And that's how I'm going to shine in that job. So it's really figuring out what do you naturally gravitate to in your skill set, because it's so natural for you and obvious for you. So that's the first thing. The second thing, definitely there's nothing different about me. I think ultimately in my early 20s, I was more afraid of feeling average in my career. And I don't know if that had to do with my own worthiness and wanting some significance, wanting to matter in the world, or just looking at my own human experience and thinking, I'm so scared to be like everyone because not everyone is happy. I'm so much more afraid of being unhappy than I am of failure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, question to you. How can people tap into what you're doing? Obviously, the book is coming out, but what courses can they tap into? Tell us how we can connect to you.
Yeah, my podcast, U-Turn, which I would love to have you on, Tim,
Sure.
is YOU, 2 words, U-Turn. And it's all about how to upgrade your mindset and work and love. You can find that on any podcast app. And that's been a huge passion project, just helping people shift the way they think and bringing on workplace experts to help them really thrive and find themselves in their career. Or else at my website, ashleystahl.com. I have courses there on job hunting, figuring out your best career, all of those sorts of things.
Okay, what does a day in the life of Ashley usually look like? You are doing what kinds of things?
Yeah, there's so many different things I'm working on. So I write for Forbes, so I like to batch my workload. So I write days.
Don't rush through that so quickly, because I don't write for Forbes. So you write for Forbes. How did that happen?
Yeah, about 5 years ago, they just approached me about my career content, and I was really excited about that because at the time, there weren't a lot of millennial women writing for millennials about careers, and I think things are shifting, and you've got to be nimble in your career, and even right now, technologies I would have recommended people use, for example, for networking to find an email, are no longer working on Chrome as a plugin. So it's just getting really hip to the trends and being able to write. So Forbes approached me for that. So I probably spend a couple days a month writing blog posts. I speak probably twice a month on different stages. I'm heading to Vegas in a few weeks for a women's empowerment conference, keynoting. I was keynoting for Steve Harvey like a month ago, which was really fun. He's such a fun human. Do you know Steve? I feel like you do.
No, very well. And I was on his 20-city tour. And for you to do that is a big deal because he doesn't use many speakers. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. You know, what I love about career coaching is that there's so many coaches, right? But when you lead with career, it allows me to walk into a room because there's a need for this content. But what it's really about is your mindset anyway. So I can give the tactical 4 steps to figure out what you want to do at work, and they'll be solid. But ultimately, if your mind's blocking you, you're not going to move. And so that's what I've been the most excited about with speaking.
Yeah. There's a statement that says that we should enjoy where we are on the way to where we're going.
Yeah.
And so for the most part, do you enjoy where you are right now on the way to where you're going?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Tim, if I could guess what friends would say about me when I'm not in the room, especially business friends, like our mutual friend Pendrix, they would probably say my essence is I'm having fun. So if it's not fun, I'm not signing up. And it's pretty much a hard line for me at this point of my career. I put the fun and the joy before the money, and the money comes anyway.
Okay, I'm going to ask you 2 last questions. One is going to be not on business, it's going to be on vacation. If you can envision yourself in a vacation in the next 6 months, where would it be? Why? And what are you doing there?
You know, I just got back last night from Paris, so I had a little vacation.
Okay, well,
but
I didn't know that.
You know, I've been living there the past 10 years on and off.
Don't get greedy.
Yeah.
You just came from Paris.
I know, I'm rolling into this interview full of baguettes. But I would say India is my next stop. I'm really curious to understand their mindset and their spirituality.
Yeah.
And I think the next book I want to write is going to be about overcoming burnout. And I think different countries have different modalities and healing for that. So I'm really keen to understand from different gurus, like what is the work we can do.
This is interesting. I picked this up on you without even seeing it on paper, that you love the world.
Love
I love to learn. I've been to 75 countries of the world, and I am a learner. I go into a culture, I study it beforehand, but I like to go in and really pay attention,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you just came back from Europe like last night, but I love this India idea. But in your idea of India is not necessarily the going to the Four Seasons or the Ritz-Carlton. You want to feel the culture as well.
Mm-hmm. I think this comes from working in counterterrorism even more so, was that when you're working at the Pentagon and I was working on the Taliban, you travel to some of the darkest corners of the world, and you have to create a relationship with yourself. I think travel is a vehicle for understanding yourself, and so is your career if you let it be. Yeah. And so for me, there was such a gift in really realizing how small I am on this planet, and humbling myself to like, I am one of many ways of thinking, and to viscerally experience that in other cultures, it's so fulfilling, I think.
So that is your truth, because there's around 8 billion people around.
Yeah, 8 billion truths.
But the weird thing about it is that life has called your name and called your number. So now we're paying attention to you. So it's like somebody said to me, they said, what is something about Oprah Winfrey that you think makes her so different? Mm-hmm. And I said, one of the things about Oprah, the more you get around her, she is very present. She's very in the moment. And that, I mean, I've been at so many parties at her house that she's talking to one person, and I won't say their name because it's like mind-boggling, who's there, but it's mind-boggling who's waiting, like mind-boggling. Mm-hmm. All walks of life. Mm-hmm. But she's so good at being so present here, shifting, being present there, shifting back, and being present again. Mm-hmm. That she really has this down. But I will tell you something about Oprah. She knows she's Oprah. Mm. And I think that is very, very important. Mm-hmm. And that is to really have a revelation and an understanding that you are who you are. Mm-hmm. And whether you verbalize it or don't verbalize it, you got to have that kind of swag, mm-hmm. which I think you do have. Mm. I think you've got like some kind of swag.
Thank you.
That you know that this is what you're good at.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. You know, I think one of the best things anybody could do in their career is always be up to something. Yeah. Always be up to something. Even if you don't like your job, go find something that you can be up to, because there's something about the energy somebody brings to the room when they're up to something, you know? For me, I just gave a TED Talk in Amsterdam like a month and a half ago. It was my second one. And the first one I'd never spoken on a stage before. So that was like a totally different experience. But it was so much fun for me in those 2 months preparing that, being up to something. And now that that's gone, I have my book, and I'm already aware right now of what can I be up to after this book that's going to light me up and bring me joy. And I think that your career is a playground if you're willing to start paying attention to what lights you up.
I love it. Ashley Stahl, the Ashley Stahl. And then, so the best way to find you would be, tell us one more time.
U-Turn Podcast. It's YOUTURN, 2 words, or at ashleystahl.com.
Okay, so this is World Shakers with Tim Storey and Ashley. What a privilege to talk to you. I look forward to sharing stages with you and helping people's lives.
Thank you so much. Same.
Have a great day.